Hello, YouTube. How's the sound? How's the quality, guys? Are we coming out loud and clear? Age case, are you there?
Good evening, man. How's it going? You alright?
Hello, age case. Good evening, man. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well, very well.
What you been up to today? I didn't ask you that.
I don't know, it felt like the first day of spring today. I was just out
First of
in the
spring.
garden, painting, getting stuff ready for the summer, I suppose, cleaning up the house. One of those sort of days. Did
Oh
anyone
yeah,
else
I
feel
was.
like it was the first day of spring today?
Um, I was riding on the train most of the day, but yeah, the sun was out. The sun was out today.
Still a bit cold, I suppose, but
Yeah, it was freezing. It was cold.
yeah. Good evening, DeWitt, Agent X, and all the others that
Hello,
are coming in.
Leewit. Hello, Agent X. Thanks for being here, guys. To the 6 people watching, make sure you've bashed the like button. If you've got a community page, smash the share as well. Because today we're talking about meat diet versus a vegan diet. And some people might be interested in that. And yeah.
I think I was saying to you like 5 minutes ago, like I'm a vegetarian and you're a meat eater. But like there's one thing I hate is pushy people that try and like push their opinions onto other people, meat eaters and vegetarians, they both do it. Like I can cook meat for people, it doesn't bother me. I can sit around people that eat meat. I'm not one of those vegetarians and that. But there are vegetarians out there who get offended and they blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That's one thing that annoys me. But
Yeah, I've been out with
each their
Danny
own.
Shine. I've been out with Danny Shine outside the butcher shops, and he goes on and on to them about how they can promote a pig's face, um, you know, outside. Not
Yeah.
outside. Um, like when you're window shopping, you see a pig's head
Yeah.
sitting there with a price tag, you know, or dead
I suppose
chicken
that's a bit
or dead
extravagant,
cow.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a tough one because you got like, hundreds of years of local farmers and butchers and that. And that, it's their business, it's their livelihood of doing this. I suppose to go outside their shop, I don't know. But then you look at the entire like history of humanity, we've probably only been eating meat for like 2% of that.
What of time?
So yeah, I reckon we were we were eating vegetables and plants for the majority of like human history.
No, no,
Don't it? You not
no,
reckon?
no, no. I think there was more animals before there was humans, and there's not many animals anymore, and there's a lot of endangered animals. Is because of us, you know. So we've
Yeah.
eaten all of them.
Oh, I just reckon that's in the last 5,000 years or so, maybe even 10,000 years, where we've created farms and we have livestock and now we're mass producing it. But I think possibly we were eating vegetables and plant life for thousands and millions of years, you know what I mean? And it's only when we went into the city life, or no, the towns and the villages and then the towns, and we grew civilizations, I suppose.
Didn't didn't the humans though find out a way to make fire about 150,000 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Cook meat,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
that's when they reckon our brain started growing a bit bigger and we started getting more intelligent was when we started cooking food.
Right.
And then I reckon when we started cooking meat, that's when we started getting bigger muscles and growing stronger. And a generation after generation, then I don't know, you'd get sort of bigger people. Like you look at all the like Nordic people, they're huge, like strong people, and the Africans as well. They started eating meat at a certain point, started getting big.
Muhammad says there's over 250 primates, and we are just one of them, called Homo sapiens.
Yeah. Hundreds of species have been wiped out as well by humans. And obviously natural as well, but possibly sped up by humanity and civilization.
A lot of the tribesmen, like in Africa, the ones that live in the villages, um, if there's videos on YouTube where people interview them and they ask them how were the surrounding areas back in your days, and they would say there was no endangered species, and it was full of animals. When you wanted to eat meat, there was meat there. Now, everything's endangered, and there's nothing about anymore. That's what they say.
That's probably because we've like cleared natural spaces so we can put cattle on or we can put sheep on it. And then a lot of species have died out this way over time. Is a possibility. I was
Let's
looking
get
at
the chart back up.
how many meat eaters versus vegetarian vegans in the world, and it's 83% are meat eaters.
What in the
17,
world?
yeah, 17% vegan, vegetarian. But then you'll have like countries like India where it's 90% vegetarian.
But that's just one country out of the
Yeah.
217.
And then you'll have places like above the Arctic rim where there's nothing other than meat to eat. You have to eat meat because that's the only way they survive, really, or they import food. But you know, hundreds of years ago, they didn't import food.
What about fish, like in the colder areas around the world? You gotta eat
Yeah.
fish, you know, the lakes are.
A lot of Africans eat fish,
Yeah.
or sort of the land, the sea, the countries that are next to the sea, they eat a lot of fish because they've learned how to fish over hundreds of years, generations.
Right.
And I suppose it's too hot to live inland and graze like cattle and stuff.
On the chart that we got here, I really want to talk about the future of food,
Yeah.
and animal welfare.
I just got to point one thing out, right? Before we do that, Agent X says that's why we evolved wisdom teeth to help with bones and meat. It's funny because we cancelled last week's show because we both had wisdom teeth removed. That was funny. But yeah, right. What are we talking about then? Future of food.
The future of food. What's the bottom one? Sustainability and environment. That's a good one as well. You know, if people cut down on the meat, because or is it like 30% or 40% of the carbon emissions are because of factory farming, or maybe more than that.
I don't know if it's that much. Well, I'll have a look in a minute.
Mohammed says fish has been a stable diet for just about forever. Humans settle on coastlines and next to rivers, part and parcel.
Probably before we started eating meat, you know, because it was a lot harder to catch meat and graze meat, whereas fish, it was like abundant. It was there, you could just easily catch it. And I reckon, I think I was chatting to you earlier about it. I believe we should go from factory farming to more local farming, where there should be, you know, back to how it used to be in England, like probably before the 60s. But nowadays, it would just, you know, you have hundreds and hundreds of fields of just one, like, you know, wheat or something, or cows, and there needs to be a more sort of diverse and sustainable environment where you have everything on that sort of one farm, you know, a few cows, a few chickens. But I suppose generations after generations have just like worked on one. Like, you'll have a family that have just sold chickens for generations and a family that have just done cows, you know. So these companies have got huge.
Agent X says she had 8 wisdom tooth removed.
8? Fucking hell. I thought you only have 4. That's not good.
When you was young, did you get any teeth pulled out?
When I was 17, yeah, I had 1 wisdom tooth pulled out. That's it.
What about when you was younger than that, like a kid?
No, my teeth were really good up until I was about 17, 18.
I went once or twice when I was a kid, and then I got them. I thought my dentist took out my bottom wisdom tooth a few years ago, and then when she's like, "Right, it's time to take your wisdom teeth off again from the bottom," I'm like, "What are you on about? I thought you took them out," and she's like, "No, it's the first time I'm taking them out." Oh.
Yeah, man.
So maybe I had a few taken out as well.
So where's the future of food going? I don't know. You could. There's conspiracy theories saying that, you know, they want to force everyone to be vegans and live on bugs and all that shit. I don't think that's the case. I think that's grifters, I suppose, have like latched onto these, and then they, you know, make loads of YouTube videos, and it goes through the culture like that way. But I think they definitely want more people to cut down than eating meat. so they can reduce CO2. But I don't see how more people. I don't see how, like, if everyone gave up eating meat, it wouldn't particularly cut back on CO2 that much, really, because it's only responsible for, where is it, 12% of all human. Oh yeah, I suppose it is a big amount. 12% of
This
all
is the
human CO2 is caused by the meat industry.
yeah. How many percent? 40.
12.
12%. No, it should be more than that. There's a
According to
PR
the United
campaign going
Nations.
on there. There's a PR campaign going on there. 12% is not right.
Probably deforestation. That I don't know if that account for deforestation as well. To like put loads of cattle on the land, because that's a big one. Is deforestation that causes
Yeah,
it.
I heard that 9 football fields of trees get knocked down, cut down every day in
Yeah.
the Amazon rainforest. 9 football fields, 9 football pitches every day.
See, that's probably worse.
It only takes one day to cut it all down, but 20 years for it to regrow again.
Yeah. Yeah, that would just be like corruption within Brazil and stuff. Because it is, it's really corrupt. And there's loads of like loggers, but they're like gangs, and they've all got to support their families, I suppose. It's a hard fucking circle. And we keep buying all their wood. Supply
Yeah,
and
it's all
demand.
the shit. It's all the shit that we buy from the crap that we buy from all these places that advertise outside that
Yeah,
attract
like,
you to come inside and buy their crap.
yeah.
Those kinds of
Like
shops.
Agent X says hemp takes 8 weeks to grow. That's definitely something that could replace like wood and plastic. Or not all plastics, but it could replace like a lot of single-use plastic and mycelium as well. See, that's what I think. It's supermarkets that are, they're facilitating destroying the earth quicker. Because if it
The
was all local,
supermarket.
if you had a
Yeah.
local butchers and a local greengrocers and a local everything, there's no need to have like all this transport and shipping like across the world of food and so many other like processes.
Yeah, and I also heard.
Supermarkets that have to go, really.
Yeah, I also heard. Supermarkets, they only accept the good-looking fruit and veg, and not the bad ones. So most of it goes to waste. Um, that also has an effect on the environment as well.
Or what they do in the EU is they keep all the good stuff and then sell it all to Africa or Asia or South America. Like all the second rate vegetables and that. Or they'll put it in plant not plant food, like feed for animals. But a lot of that is like grain.
Where I work, any waste from the bread, so the bread that we can't handle ends up in going on the floor. So then we have to put that into the waste. Or any bread that can't be delivered is made for an order and then it gets cancelled at the last minute. Um, if they can't do anything with the bread, it ends up going into the compactor. So the compactor gets full and Laura takes it to the farms and they also eat it. So um, it gets factory waste also gets sent to farms.
Ah, mad. That's good. I know. I think it's France. It's illegal to throw away food waste as well. Waste is a tax write-off for big corporations. Yeah.
The waste where I work, they get apparently 20% per loaf of the cost back. So imagine it costs them 10p. Just say it's 10p to make one loaf of bread with the packaging and everything, and the work put in it 10p. Um, Getting 20% back is 2p. So it is like a tax break. If you think
Yeah.
of it.
And then like one of my old jobs, one of the bosses, he'd buy like the bread for like fucking 30p. And then he'd sell like one slice for like £1. It's crazy.
Huh.
So they're just inflating the prices and making money back there. And yeah, a lot of restaurants do that. So with all the food, it's like you double the price basically when you go to a restaurant.
Agent X says, shame that local one. Bet starving people could you make use of it or food banks. Um, yes, I agree, and yes, they are doing that. When the waste reaches a certain point, it starts getting sent out to food banks.
I walk past the food bank like in the week and that, and I see loads of bread outside from like the local supermarkets, which is just about to go off and that stuff. I think it's D. Yeah, D. Witt. He always goes on about it. It's like the distribution of sort of wealth and resources. It's at the moment we've got this system where you've got like big companies like what you work for is where they produce it and then they decide whether waste goes to the farm or it's sold in the supermarket. I don't
Yeah,
know. I think we should be going back to the local ways of the windmills, and not the windmills, I suppose, but more local bakeries. And but then I suppose in nowadays you can get things delivered and there's no point holding on to properties and renting out properties anymore. This is why a lot of these small companies go out of business, because the big companies can spend the money. And
there was a comment earlier. Um, Let me try and find it. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Sean E. He says, won't be long before we see biological lab created meat on our shelves. So someone the other day mentioned this, and they're a vegan, and it's lab grown meat, so it's not real animal. So they wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I had a friend
Um,
who said that as well. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't really. I mean, I've tried all the like fake meats, and I just don't like them. Well, not all of them. I've tried a few of them, and I just don't really like the taste. Just weird. So I just eat vegetables and shit like that. Don't really need
so I'm
like
a
McDonald's and have a McPlant burger or whatever.
so I'm a big Star Trek fan, and
Yeah.
I was daydreaming earlier about this topic and Star Trek, and regards to the lab meat, and in Star Trek, the meat, you say to the machine what you want, and
Prince it.
all, all of a sudden it's there in front of you, you know, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It sparkles, and then it's there, you know. So if you like ask for uh, a hamburger, it's there. McDonald's burger, it's there for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure, it will be like that in the future. Yeah.
what what we got now with the lab meat, that's just the start of it. This is just the start of things. So if everyone was to say yes to me now, would it be like that quicker than 400 years time, like in Star Trek?
Maybe. I reckon like maybe you could replace burgers with these lab meat burgers. But then when it comes to like whole chicken legs or breast or something like that, you can't beat the real thing, can you?
Who knows? It might be. It might even taste better.
Actually, do you know what? The only thing I've tried out of everything that is vegetarian and is better is hot dogs. They taste exactly the same as meat hot dogs. But if you ever like find out what's in meat hot dogs, you wouldn't eat them again, man. Especially some of the cheap ones, like. But again, like you get all these like fake bacons, and I don't,
Agent X
I
has
don't
got
even
a
know
good.
what's in them.
Yeah, Agent X has got a good point with the proteins from meat.
Yeah,
It has benefits. But
lamb's a really big one.
the only problem to that is you can't just be on a meat diet. Um, where's the fiber coming from? And what else? What do you get from vegetables? Fiber and is calcium,
Vitamins.
vitamins. Yeah, certain vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin B. Um, like your body's gonna crave it, and it's not gonna work. So you're always gonna need vegetables and fruit in your diet. Yes, guys. I think I posted the link pin the link. Someone can join if they want. Are you a meat eater? Are you a vegan? A vegetarian? Are you a vegetarian or a vegan and you eat pasta? Pasta's got egg in it. If anyone didn't know that.
I've been a vegetarian most of my life. I don't think I could ever be a vegan. I ain't even tried. There's certain things I like. I don't know. I can't help but eat chocolate every now and then. And when I did eat meat as a kid, I only ever ate chicken, really.
See, even if it was out in the wild, you would if you look, you're out in the wild, I wouldn't only grow, I would also kill for meat.
Hunt, yeah.
So I'll probably always in every universe I'll be a meat eater. Argument says he's tried 3 times to be a vegetarian, but he gets ill.
Yeah.
What? How long have you been a vegetarian, Age?
20 odd years.
20+ years vegetarian,
Yeah.
and you haven't eaten meat since.
No.
Not
I mean,
even here or there.
some people class eggs as meat, don't they? But I don't know.
Well, it comes from an. Do you eat cheese?
Yeah, well, very rarely.
What about milk?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you have cornflakes in the mornings?
No. I have like both milks in the house. I got like oat milk and cow's milk. My son likes the cow's milk, and he likes the oat milk actually. But yeah,
You're not a true vegetarian if you're letting others. Age, you're not a true vegetarian if you're letting others around you do things that you're against. You're not a true
no,
one.
that's their opinion, isn't it? I've never like forced my son to be a vegetarian. It's his decision, you know. And it's everyone. You know, I could give you a few bits of information that I've learned, but I'd never like say, "Oh, you must do this and you must do this for that." Or everyone's got their own opinion. Like looking on the list, I think there definitely needs to be like better animal welfare and a more sort of local growing. That doesn't mean I'm against like meat farms or meat I'm against the industry the like factory farming and mass producing of like all these meats and a lot of the waste as well. But yeah, I'd never be against anyone what they want to do. You know, I won't push my opinions in people's faces, and they don't push their opinions in mine. I think that's how we should all be, really, and not get offended over it.
Yeah, I come across uh, activists outside a clothes shop in somewhere in Oxford Circus.
Oh yeah.
What's the shop called?
Was it like mink or something?
Yeah, like a jacket shop.
Yeah.
And they use the fur for jackets. So I was
Yeah,
riding past.
I don't think there's any need to make these jackets really. There's no nutritional value. Like that's just to look good or they think to look good. I don't know.
That when you start thinking of that sort of like the animal welfare in the world, you know, where animals are treated, what animals are used for, why we kill these animals. Uh, if we start with that, I think everyone will say, right, no more. Not everything is going to revolve around meat now. Um, it's going to be 50-50 in all restaurants and supermarkets.
Well, you have the theories that by a certain time they're gonna like sort of what's it push a limit on people's like CO2 emissions per person. I think the UN and the WEF were saying like 1,000 kilograms per person per year. Now at the moment, the average like humans emitting like
What?
a thousand per month. So yeah, that would be like yeah, no more flights, international flights. That would be your limit straight away, unless they bring out electric aeroplanes or something, whatever. There's loads of
What
little
about
things that the green, what they call it, the green lobby is pushing.
pushing for?
Like supposed to limit humans emitting CO2.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like they want everyone to have electric cars by a certain time, and they want people to eat less meat, and yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. Like me, I'm thinking, like, I don't have a driving license, yeah? So, um, is it worth getting one now? Because in 10, 15 years' time, maybe even less than 20 years, yeah, no one would need a driving license. It will be all autonomous,
Yeah, that's true.
driverless cars.
A lot of carpooling as well.
Once, I reckon, once the cabbies go driverless, every other car is gonna follow.
So that's one industry that's been electrified. Yeah, that'll be 20, 30 years. Yeah, it's going to be different world in the future. Like Sab the Seeker, good to see you, man. And on a queue, bright, big ups. Ooh.
Something else about animal welfare. How many? Um, you know the number. Um, 66 billion of what animal was slaughtered in the world last year, guys? Which animal? Yeah, that's a good question to ask the chat. What animal was slaughtered 66 billion times last year.
I think arguments got it right.
Argument, 1 point to you. That's it. 66 billion chickens were slaughtered last year for our stomach, for our mouths, because we were hungry.
And 1 to 3 trillion fish.
1 to 3 trillion fish. But I did mention about the sea. Humans have only explored less than 10% of all waters on the planet. So imagine that 90% of water that hasn't been explored yet. Imagine how much fish is swimming in those seas. Whether it's deep or in the shallow ends, you know?
Yeah, there will be a lot of fish, but I think it's like the big stocks of nearer to the land that the local fishermen they're being depleted by the big trawlers, isn't it? And the
Yeah.
big fishing boats. And then you have those big like salmon like farms out at sea where it's like a huge circle net, and you have like thousands of salmon being raised in there, and they're feeding them really shit food and that.
What about again animal welfare? Some traditions around the world, they will go to beaches and lakes and whatever, like to the sea, and hunt for whales or the big fish, you know, the dolphins, and the way they bring them onto land, it's like it's torture before they get killed and brought onto land, you know, for them. That's not good, man. There needs to be a process so they're calmly killed and then eaten, and not the way like that, man. Blood everywhere.
Yeah. Like some people say that when you eat a meat, you're eating all their fear, and that when just before they died or whatever. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Yeah, it says they say that when the animal's stressed before it dies, the meat tastes less tasty. So there's less taste in the meat because the meat was stressed.
I think when machinery came, I think it was during World War One and World War Two, and all the farmers started getting tractors and stuff and machines, 90% of that industry just was made redundant. And then it all started becoming factory farming and like mass producing just one product. And then all the villages emptied, and all the young people went to the cities. So you had all these villages that were full of old people. They still are, like, well, now they've all been bought out by rich people because it's expensive to live in the countryside. But yeah, it was back during the World Wars when I think it was America started giving us loads of tractors so we could keep producing our own food during World War II.
Oh wow.
And then since then it's slowly died out, and we're now importing like our vegetables. That's why you've had a big problem in the last few weeks, you know, with the tomatoes and the cucumbers and all that. I've been not in the supermarkets because they put all the oil prices up, and a lot of these like greenhouses, they can't heat them. So Europe will grow enough for themselves, and then we're you know, they can't import any to us. So we've been fucked this winter. A number of reasons like weather, but mainly because the price of oil has gone up, and the
Well,
supermarkets are not willing to pay the farmers, which is why we should go
well,
back to local growing, how we used to be.
or the hello Spunkfish. Um, the problem is the reason why everything's going up is because of the Russia and the Ukraine war going on right now.
I don't know. I
Um,
think that's an excuse.
everyone, no, the UK's against Russia now, so it's stopping all its dealings with Russia. You know,
Yeah,
so we've had to rely on Russia for everything, and now that we're not relying on Russia, it's getting harder, um, and it costs more in other places. You know, they were in Russia for a reason because it was cheap. You know, and now we're feeling the consequences of not dealing with Russia. You know,
with their
everything's
gas.
going up
Yeah,
in price. Yeah,
yeah, like the German industry from when it was divided into two countries up until now, they've had like a massive fucking industry. Like it's all been on cheap Russian gas,
yeah,
and now
I
that
know.
that gas has stopped and the Nord Stream got destroyed, they're having to dig coal out of the ground. You saw that thing with Greta Thunberg a few weeks ago. You know where they're digging what's it called, lignite out of the side. They're just destroying whole like villages to dig this coal out, as
Wow.
well as putting solar panels and all that and wind turbines. But
Yeah,
yeah, Germany
that
fucked
doesn't do
itself over
much.
really.
Yeah. The destruction that they mine that they do to mine these materials. Yes, in the end they leave windmills and all of that shit, but the destruction what they've caused that can never be replaced by windmills and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah,
the landscape's just fucked completely. You know.
yeah. Well, I've always been a fan of nuclear, but that takes time. And we're in a transition period right now. So there's going to be like ups and downs and heavy like rises in prices and big drops, and for the next fucking 20 years or so. Bit like the 70s when we was like transitioning from coal power to electric power.
Coal power to what? Electric power.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
people's houses were like warmed by coal, and everything was by coal, but now it moved to electric, like nuclear and
Coal,
solar.
but coal is
Hydro.
sustainable, isn't it? Yeah, you can just relight it a few times over and over again.
Yeah, I suppose. You'll always need coal for steel. Won't be able to get rid of coal for, like, entirely.
I think oh no, my ideas are like really over the top, but my ideas are like factory farming and all of that stuff, manufacturing, um, factories, all the factories in the world that are emitting all of these greenhouse gases and carbon gases and all of the bad stuff. Why don't they get pipes and stick them on their chimneys and let them off in space?
Be a lot of steel to make these tall chimneys. That's a good point. Matt E. England. I went to my local greengrocers and there's plenty of everything. It's expensive but available. Yeah, that's it. It's the big supermarkets don't want to pay the farmers.
That is the problem. That is the problem as
So
well.
there's probably like
Yeah.
warehouses and farms that are just full of like food and it's just rotting or it's going to waste. Or, it's crazy. It's the government we've got. They're pretty shit.
Argument. Um, he says we in the UK have 200 years reserves of coal. In Dubai, not in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, they have over, is it over 1 trillion barrels of or gallons of petrol.
Yeah.
So that will last like 350 years or something.
And then you've got nuclear. Like, there's different ways of doing it. Deuterium, it's found fucking everywhere in the sea, mainly in seawater. But
Yeah,
you can process that to make it into helium-3, and then you get more deuterium and process the helium-3 together to make helium-4, and then you've got nuclear fusion. But again, that's like years away because they don't want to invest in that because it's very cheap energy, and there's no waste in that, basically.
waste is the biggest problem. Yeah, my waste is really bad as well from work. Yeah,
At work.
yeah, he's talking about people's wastes. You know,
Yeah.
unless it's the other waste, like the carbon emissions. Yeah, it's probably the waste, the carbon
Oh no,
emissions.
the waste from coal.
Yeah,
Or the CO2s, yeah. Well, they got rid of all the trains that are powered by coal, and a lot of the boilers that used to be powered by coal are all gone. It's all been electrified. So, health, diet, animal welfare, future of food. I think we covered everything. But sustainability, environment. There's a bit of a
Yeah,
quiet one tonight.
if there's anyone that wants to jump on, um, we'll give you like another 10 minutes. If no one jumps on, then we'll end the stream soon. Look what argument has said. Russia has kinetic bombs that will target all nuclear power stations. We can't shoot them down. Rods from God weapons system. Do you know something
That's
we
another
don't know?
subject. The whole Russia-Ukraine thing is another subject, I suppose. Definitely. Which I'd love to do one night.
No, now hold on. Look, the conflict is happening now over there, and everything's rising in price. You know, so now we can't complain of getting the fresh food from our local uh, fruit and veg because it's the same price. We can't compare it because it's the same price. Everything's gone up now. So everyone should start going to their locals. Go to your locals, guys. Support your locals, man. They need it the most. Fuck the multinationals.
Like BlackRock and Vanguard and all them, who not only have like investments in weapons, but they also have investments in Ukraine, like farmland. It's all like one big chessboard, I suppose.
They
And at the
own
bottom is us, who are paying for all the inflation. And yeah, price rises.
all these big guys that you're talking about. You know the all the companies in the world are owned in some way or another by these mega companies. You know, they own
BlackRock,
all the companies. Yeah,
Vanguard, State Street,
they basically got a say.
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, they basically got a say in it all. So if the market goes, this is where this is why there's markets. Whatever they say, the market will go that way, lean towards their way, his idea or their idea. It just goes back and forth, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, these companies, the mega companies, they're the ones that control everything.
It's hard to de-invest in these big companies when they own everything and everyone around you is buying everything off all of these companies. So you could do it for yourself, I suppose, live off grid and just buy from local people and all that. But
Yeah, always
still
do.
like 98% of the population are buying off these big companies. So they're always going to be supported.
If I'll tell you the best way everyone would support their locals. If everyone sold their cars and got on a bicycle, electric bicycles are the way forward because the electric bike will force you to have limited goods on you at one time. So then instead of going to the supermarkets, You just ride around, and you can go to one shop, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and just buy a few bits along the way before you go home. Then buy in a one shop at one time, once a week.
That's a good
And
way
you're
of
cheap.
living. A lot of places are moving towards that way. Amsterdam, they've been like that for years. And Holland.
If they were selling rechargeable bikes for cheap, then I would get one of them. Where I won't need to plug it in. Just when I'm cycling, it will be charging.
But then the knock-on effect of all these electric bikes is places like China, they're building all these coal stations across China so that they can smelt steel, so they can build all these goods for the West. So all of the Western countries are going to be carbon free, but places like China, I suppose they say that they're going to offset it by building hydro and nuclear and all these things, but offsetting, I don't know, it's not the same as getting rid of.
No, but if they do stop, and it's only China and only the big and Russia and maybe America and maybe just a few others doing it.
And then arguments also has
Society,
another problem is the batteries as well.
society will change. Society will change if we was to stop. A lot of things on our shelves won't be there anymore because of all of these factories shutting down.
I'd say up until the world wars happened, like British life or even all around the world, was everything was where you were born, like everything was within 20 miles of you. You had like a blacksmith, you had the bakers, you had the fishmonger, everything was, and that's when we was using and destroying the earth less. And there was more people in work as well. So we're going from, all this local farming and local production of everything to like factory farming, mass production, all imported, all exported. That's the problem. We need to get back to local. I say it every fucking show that you do, but
Yeah.
but I think it's the rich people at the top or the landowners that want to keep this continuous growth going on, and they change the name of it. At first it's sustainable growth and then it's green growth, but it's still destroying the planet. Growth is just continuing the cycle of producing things that society may or might not need, whereas we need to get to a point where we're just producing things that we definitely need. That's it.
Look, Sab the Seeker is right. He says it would seem that the government want you to be fully dependent on the multinationals.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Oh,
you've seen over the last 2-3 months with the energy crisis is they've disenfranchised us from creating our own energy and growing our own food in local farms to it's all imported and exported, and now we've got shortages everywhere because we're not doing it ourselves anymore.
yeah.
It's convenient. It's convenience, I suppose, which is a part of capitalism and all that. I'm not saying we should go into a communist society, but definitely.
Yeah, I keep saying it as well. There's a lot of people waiting for handouts. Without the government, they protest outside Downing Street, and they say this and they say that. But when they go back home, it's all the benefits that they're living off. So if the government were there, they won't be getting no benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people have just been forced into this sort of lifestyle. Yeah, you know, you're born on an estate where there isn't much like opportunity. You get a shit job, and you just live there like fucking most of us. It's hard to find anything else, and then you're stuck in that capitalist system where you got to rely on supermarkets to provide you food and big corporations to provide you energy.
There are enough jobs out there. It's just getting up
There
and
could be
looking.
enough jobs out there, but there
No,
isn't.
there is. There is. Yeah, there is.
But it's whether the companies are willing to take on all these new people for jobs.
Remember, one position in a job takes maybe like in the retail market, like in stores, one position you need at least 3 people to fill that one position because of holidays, days off.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Which is why these big companies would rather have like self-serving machines and stuff nowadays. Cut out the staff. They'll have driverless trains soon and driverless taxi drivers and
yeah. The Bear Britain Orders says people are losing their jobs every day due to no longer being needed or companies going broke. Yeah, the multinationals, those big companies. What did you say? What?
Black
Um,
BlackRock.
BlackRock. Yeah, it's all of these guys getting all the money, and the small guys, they're all running out of business, running out of money because it's all of them that getting it. And Matty says it's Rum's fault.
Where? I've got to see that. Where
Matty's
the
back.
fuck does that say? It's all Rum's fault. Yeah, man.
It's all Rum's fault for the Rum's. Danny Shine says it's our parents' fault. But if you really think of it, it wasn't our parents' fault. It was our grandparents' fault. You know, my granddad had a lot of war stories. Um, his son, my uncle, and my granddad. So father and son was in the same team in the war, in the Turkish Cypriot and the Greek Cypriot war, and they got stuck in a cave. Uh, and the Greek Cypriots were throwing their grenades into the cave, and my granddad was firing them back out at them. And my uncle, his son, was there with the sniper shooting them. Yeah, some mad stories about war. But this is the culture that we live in, you know.
I suppose everyone's like knows someone or is related to someone that has been in a war.
Yeah, it's our grandparents' fault. They should have said no to all of these wars, but instead they said yes, we'll serve the king, or we'll serve the queen, or we'll serve you, prime minister, or the leader. Why couldn't they think for themselves and be like, no, I don't
But
want to fight these
like it
people.
was how whenever it was back then, 100 years ago, the same as it is now, is the aristocracy and the establishment. They control the political narrative and how everything's controlled. So yeah, even if people said no back then, they'd have just been locked up. People were locked up for saying no, like to war back then. That's that's one thing that we're lucky to have. We can say no, and you won't get put in prison. Or some countries you do. You get conscripted, like.
Sab the Seeker, he comments, and now with the new techs being brought in, lots of automated services brought in, new automated bots to do manual labor, etc. Well, I'll tell you something about this, Sabda Seeker. My theory is that if the um, the universal wage that will come out if automated bots take over my job. They say to me, local experimentalist UK, your job is being taken over by a robot, and instead of you getting nothing, we're gonna pay you um,
£1,000 a
£2 an
month.
hour. £2 an hour to sit at home, all day, every day, 24 hours, 4 days a week. Um, how much does that come to? So, 4 24-hour days at £2 an hour. So 4, 8, 12, 16. 16. 200, just say £220.
It's just like it's just more disenfranchisement from the land and less power to the people, and we'll be more reliant on the governments for everything if it goes automated.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. The universal credit sounds interesting. If I can, if they're doing that for life, like forever, until the day I die, so I won't need to apply for another job or anything. I'll be getting that forever, and everybody else would be uh, different jobs for different rates. Um,
But then everyone would get the same amount, say £1,000 a month. No one, you wouldn't be able to save money because that would just be enough for the month. And then no one would be able to buy houses. No one would be able to acquire private business and property. So eventually,
no.
all these companies would own everything because we'd be stuck on £1,000 a month. And
No, I think the currency, like society and governments, they'll run down the money to the value of the way you're using it because of that, and everything will be fine.
yeah.
Yes, guys. If anyone wants to jump on, otherwise, we'll end it soon, innit?
Yeah.
Let's put some banners up. So today's topic was meat eater versus leaf eater. Here we go, guys. We're ending in 10 minutes. If there's not going to be a guest.
I don't know you could do it.
Here's the chart, guys. So the first one was meat versus veg. Second one was health, diet, and nutrition. The third one was animal welfare. And the fourth one, future of food. That's an interesting one. Lab meats. And what I'm talking about, Star Trek. Oh,
Yeah. Or
it could be like that.
people could have their own printers at home, and you could say you could order something like online, and then it prints it out within
Yeah.
seconds at home. Mad.
No, you just say it and it comes and it charges you straight away,
Yeah. I suppose that's a possibility. For sure. Because they're already printing like meat and stuff. I think it was
Yeah.
KFC who was gonna sell printed meat.
Yeah. I think it'll be like what is it? Is it not transportation? Teleportation. From one place to another. So that's probably how holographics will work, innit? From going from one place to another.
Maybe. I don't really know much about that.
So if you wanted to have an apple, and you say to the machine, "Give me an apple," and it flashes and an apple appears. It's teleported one from one place to your device. But in the process, it makes the apple less juicier, like in a microwave. If you
It's
put
not
it in there
natural,
for
I
a while,
suppose.
what's that?
It's not natural as well, like, is it? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not gone through the natural process of growing. And will this like will this meat that you can print, will it decay and rot down, or will it just turn into some kind of toxic waste? Who knows?
Bright. Most of the evening, I did not understand the word you were saying. Um, but good to see you, man. Hope you're well.
Yeah, we'll have to get another subject going next week.
Yeah, guys. Quick, quick register. Let's do a quick register. Put one in the chat if you've bashed the like button, and I'll give you a shout. Also, while you're doing that, think of a topic that we can maybe talk about next week.
That we haven't done. And I suppose everything we always talk about mixes in, and we don't just like concentrate on the one subject. It does go off. Like tonight we did a bit, but that's all good.
Yeah, man. Okay, so we got a few ones in the chat. Sab the Seeker, Trojan, Sky, and DeWitt. Yeah, so I think we'll end the stream there. Age. No one's got any ideas yet. Everyone's still thinking. Unless my chat is stuck.
I'll throw a few ideas your way or something and see what we'll come up with something. But
Should we talk about flat Earth?
you could do. That's controversial. It'll bring a lot of people in. I don't know.
Maybe.
There's any subject we could do. There's loads. There's COVID. There's climate change. There's what haven't we done? I can't even think. There's just loads.
I said the COVID talk. We have to leave it for a few years at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Until the censorship goes down.
Yeah, especially on YouTube. But there are other subjects. Well, aliens, DeWitt. That's a good one. Yeah, we'll think.
Have we done wars?
No, we haven't done wars. Ukraine war.
Yeah, wars is a good one. Why certain countries went to war, you know, and all that shit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. I'll put a tally in the community section sometime this week, and you guys can vote. Yeah, for a topic. So thank you to everybody for joining this evening, and thank you to everybody for bashing the like button. Um, have a good evening and the rest of the week, and we'll see you all again Thursday at 9:30 p.m. GMT.
Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.